Welcome to Shri Shri Pad Baba VMST lecture series on Shri Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram. Today we shall be focusing upon transition for and reach from first formulation Vishwa to the second formulation Vishnu. Formulation Vishwa in verse 1 is as Vishvam, and formulation Vishwam is a complete scripture in itself. It is a complete formulation of 6 letters. These 6 letters expressed as such are the Vartani, expression, composition, sequential expression of the formulation Vishwam. Therefore, the first step which one shall take for understanding and having insight about the formulation is to reach at its Vartani, which would mean organization, sequential arrangement of the letters availed for composition of the formulation. Here the formulation is Vishwa. It is being availed as Vishwam, and this formulation as Vishwam is a complete formulation, is a complete scripture, and this complete scripture is of 6 steps. The 6 sequential steps are the organization, format and arrangement of the letters within this formulation. The second step with respect to the formulation is to reach at the transcendental code values, Divya Anka Vivasta, and the Divya Anka Vivasta of these 6 letters of this composition are 7, 2, 2, 7, 1 and 9. See, the formulation Vishwa is a scripture of 5 letters leading to summation value of the TC value is 19, and this formulation Vishwam is a scripture of 6 letters of total TC value is 28. Value 19 is the value of Dhruv, pole star, the origin of 6 space, and the formulation 28 is the formulation of a Brahm, eternity. Therefore, a reach from value 19 to value 28 is the range of the pure values of the formulation Vishwa to the applied values of formulation Vishwa as Vishwam. The second formulation, the second transcendental name, the self-referential designation of Lord Vishnu is Vishnu. This formulation Vishnu as well is a scripture of 5 letters, and it is being availed as Vishnu, which is of 6 letters. The first 5 letters, Vish, as such, lead us to value 25. Therefore, Vartani is the first step. Divya Anka Vivasta, transcendental code value, is the second step, and it takes us to value 7, 2, 6, 7, 3, 25, and it is being availed as worked out as of value 38. And we shall have a pause here and take note that value 38 is equal to 19 plus 19. So the formulation Vishwa, which is of TC value 19, and the reach at the second formulation Vishnu in its composition form takes us to value 38, which is 19 plus 19. Therefore, this sequential transition is as 19 into 1 to the second phase as 19 into 2. It is this reach 19 into 1 to 19 into 2 is a reach of going to a linear organization format, which would mean S1 space as dimension, and 1 space as dimension is structures, 3 space as a domain. Hypercube 3 is the representative regular body of 3 space. It is a fourfold manifestation layer of quadruple values 1, 2, 3, 4 of summation value 10. It is this reach of one space as 3 space as hypercube 3 means the cube. We know the feature of the cube is that in each of the 8 corner points is embedded a 3-dimensional frame of half dimensions. It is this 3-dimensional frame of half dimensions embedded in the cube. Therefore, this organization of the structural setup of the cube deserves to be visited time and again to be parallel to its manifested format as a cube. Now, cube is a setup of 8 corner points, and in each of the corner point is embedded a 3-dimensional frame of half dimensions. Now, the second half of this 3-dimensional frame as such is in unmanifest form, and this unmanifest form is the form in the outer space in a 4 space, and in this outer space this unmanifest 3-dimensional frame takes us to a hemisphere, and it is this hemisphere which is a southern hemisphere and unmanifest form of sphere, and it is of value 19. There are as many as 8 such hemispheres, unmanifest hemispheres, southern hemispheres of values 19 each. Therefore, 19 multiplied by 8 leads us to value 152. We shall have a pause here and have a fresh visit to the setup of value 152. It is a triple digit number of and values 1 and 2, and at the middle is the value 5. It is this reach of value 5 which linearly would mean a puncti, a transcendence range, and here it is going to be the 5 geometries range of 2 space, and here it is going to be a transcendence range. It is this feature of this value which deserves to be comprehended well in the light of a linear order setup of one space in the role of a dimension, manifesting as hypercube 3 with 8 corner points. In each 8 corner point is embedded a 3-dimensional frame of half dimensions and with the orientation towards the origin, and the second half of this dimensional frame is in unmanifest form in the outer space, a 4 space. That means it is to structure out a southern hemisphere of value 19. One shall sit comfortably and to permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this organization format feature of a linear order of our Vishwa. This Vishwa of value 19, that means when we are in our solar universe with 7 space in the role of an origin, that means Dhruv, pole star, is in the role of an origin. That means value 19 is the value available here. Now it is this value which deserves to be comprehended as taking us to 6, 7, 8 and 9 as hypercube 8 with 6 space in the role of a dimension, and further value 9 as hypercube will give us 2 into 9 plus 1 is equal to 19. These are the range of features which are simultaneously coming into play, and it is this play of these values of our solar universe that from the pole star there is going to be a flow of a black matter which fulfills our solar universe, upon which is superimposed is a light. We will coming to these features subsequently. For the present, when we are at the transition from formulation Vishwa to formulation Vishnu, then we see that this setup of 8 hemispheres, southern hemispheres, in the outer 4 space are there. Therefore, it is this setup of 8 hemispheres, means this together will be constituting a solid boundary for 4 space. It is this reach at the 4 from 3 space to 4 space, from linear order space as to spatial order space. Therefore, the first transition feature which is to be comprehended and is to be chased and is to be followed is that we have to reach from the setup of a cube to a setup of hypercube 4. So the transition step as such is going to be a step of a reach from hypercube 3 to hypercube 4. In hypercube 3 we are having 8 corner points, and in each of the corner points is embedded a 3-dimensional frame of half dimensions. However, when we reach the 4 space, then we reach at a raised to power 4 is to 8 b raised to power 4. We acquire a solid boundary of 8 components. It is this solid boundary of 8 components which deserves to be reappreciated, so that we can have a comprehension that when we will coming to Devanagari Varnamala as a format, and we see there are as many as 8 Yama letters. These 8 Yama letters are the eternity format letters, and this eternity format letters is expressing itself along the hypercube 4 format as a solid boundary of 8 components. However, at a prior stage of a linear order 3 space, we know that it will amount to outward as 8 southern hemisphere setup, leading to value 152. However, further we know that this cube splits into 8 subcubes. Therefore, at the linear order 3 space setup, we are reaching at a split for a cube as 8 subcubes. It is like that the space permits split into 8 octants. Step ahead, in a 4 space, we are reaching at a space enveloped within a solid boundary of 8 components. A step ahead, we know that this hypercube 4 is, as a 4-fold manifestation layer, is 2, 4, 5 and 6. 2, 3, 4 and 5. It is 2, 3, 4 and 5 which as a step ahead will take us to 3, 4, 5 and 6. Here 5 space is playing the role of an origin. However, 5 space as domain we know is a raised to power 5 is to 10 b raised to power 4. 5 space as such is a solid order space. Here the 3 space with superimposition upon 5 space makes a value and set up 8. At a prior stage 4 space we are having 8 solid boundary components. At the previous stage of a 3 space we are having 8 octants split. Here is a 8 octants split for 3 space. Here are 8 solid boundary components for 4 space, and here we are having domain superimposed upon the dimension, and we are getting that 8 as a value. It is this sequential reach of value for 3 space, 4 space and 5 space which deserves to be comprehended well. Therefore, for a transition from the formulation Vishwa to the formulation Vishnu, we have to be through these phases and stages, and these phases and stages are that at 3 space we are having a split, and this split is going to be of 8 octets. At next step, we are having 8 solid boundary components, and at the next step, we are having superimposition of a solid dimensional order upon the transcendental 5-space domain. A step ahead, we know that 6-space is playing the role of dimension of 8-space. Therefore, here 8-space will be playing the role of a domain. So here 8-space is a domain with accepting 6-space in the role of a dimension. Therefore, these stages of a reach from 3-space to 4-space to 5-space to 6-space, when is to be viewed in the context of value 8, we see here we are getting the value 2, 3, 4 and 5. It is this value which is hypercube 4. It is this reach of the creator's space which will be ultimately taking us to hypercube 4, and at the boundary we will be getting the solid boundary of 8 components. It will be taking us to Devanagari Varnamala. As such, sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to have a transition from the first formulation Vishwa to the second formulation Vishnu shall sit comfortably, and to be through sequentially of this transition of taking from the setup of a 3-space to 4-space to 5-space and ultimately to reach at the 6-space. It is here where we shall now start revisiting the value reached at 19 into 8 is equal to 152. Now this value 152 with hypercube 6 value 22, we had started from hypercube 3. From hypercube 3 we had reached that value 19 into 8 is equal to 152. From here we have to transit to hypercube 6, and hypercube 6 is giving us value 22. Therefore it will lead us to value 174. Therefore it is a reach up till the format of a hypercube 6. This value 152 as dimension will take us to value 154 as domain, which is of organization 14 into 11. Now see, hypercube 5 is the formulation where there are as many as 10 components, and 5-space domain itself leads us to 11 geometries range of 5-space, and the 10 boundary components we know each is of value 14. So this value 14 of hypercube 4 in the creative boundary together with 11 geometries range of 5-space will lead us to value 14 into 11 is equal to 154. From here a value 152 as dimension, we are reaching here at value 154 as a domain. So 3-space we know plays the role of dimension of a 5-space, and the value 152 here is taking us to value 154 here. So it is this transition with 3-space setup to the 5-space setup with the jump over the 4-space is the feature, is the phenomenon which deserves to be comprehended, and it is possible only because here we are having 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. So it is this jump over 4-space which is permissible because of 5-space playing the role of a origin, and there happens to be a transcendence. It is this transcendence phenomenon which is going to come into play. Now see, the value 154 when is going to be a dimension itself, then it will be taking us to domain as 156 which is of value 12 into 13. C. We are at 152 as dimension at 3 space. We are reaching at 154 as a domain as in a 5 space. A step ahead, we are reaching at value 156 and it is taking us to 12. That means we are having as many as a raised to power 6 is equal to 12 b raised to power 5. Now there are 12 components here and we know the 6 space is having 13 geometries range. It is this reach which is to be comprehended well as a reach from 152 leading to 154 leading to 156. It is a reach up till dimension of dimension level. So 156 as a domain, 154 as dimension, 152 as a dimension of dimension. Now let us have a fresh visit to the pair of formulations Vishwa and Vishnu. See, the formulation Vishwa is of TCV value. Vishwa is of TCV value 19 and Vishnu is of TCV value 25. Let us reach at this range 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25. See, the summation value is 154. One shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this reach. This in fact is initiation with value 19 and transition and reach is going to be at value 25. It is the TCV value of formulation Vishwa, while this is the value of the formulation Vishnu. Now this reach, is the reach which is of 7 steps. It is 7 times 22. Therefore, we know that a raised to power 6 is to 14 into 12 b raised to power 5 and a raised to power 6 as hypercube 6 is of TC value 4, 5, 6, 7 is equal to 22 and we know that 7 space is playing the role of an origin. As such, it is going to lead us value 7 into 22 is equal to 154. It is this reach which deserves to be imbibed. One shall be face to face with this transition from formulation Vishwa to formal Vishnu as of sequential steps range of 7 steps starting with value 19 reaching at value 25. It will be taking us to the value 154 and it is this value which will further bring us face to face with, that is going to be 11 into 14. It is this reach of the format of hypercube 6 which deserves to be seen in the context of the value of hypercube 5. Now this 5 space when will transcend out and it will then make a outer space of dimensionalized as a 7 space with 5 space as dimension and it will be leading us this value and we will begin coming back to 5. So we started with 3 space, we reached at 5 space, we further transcended to 6 space and we have again reached back to 5 space. It is this feature, it is this value, it is this format, it is this organization which is at play in the organization format of Shri Shri Vishnu Shastram Stotram, and these features of transition and reach from first formulation to the second formulation deserve to be comprehended well. For the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to have a full imbibing of these features shall firstly reach and tabulate all the available formulations of TC value 19, and then one shall reach at a tabulation of all the formulations of TC value 25. It is with this we will be having a comprehensive view as to how, when we are on a Sankhya Nishtha and when we are on a Yoga Nishtha, then how the Sankhya Nishtha and Yoga Nishtha will be simultaneously helping us reach at these particular format for the transition. For the Yoga Nishtha, we know that Yoga Nishtha formulation is of TC value 34, which is of 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10, and it is here that 7 space is playing the role of a dimension. Further, we know that Yoga Nishtha is taking us to Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi as Nirbij Samadhi and as Sabij Samadhi. These formulations are taking us to values 12, 22, 15, 31, 29, 22, 19, 24, then 28, and going to be the 20. See, these values on its tabulation will take us up till the Dhyan, up till value 150, up till Samadhi of value 174. These values deserves to be comprehended in the light of this reach of the values of 3-space format 152, and when 6-space format is availed, it takes us to value 174. Further, we know that this value, when it is going to be a Nirbij Samadhi, then it will be leading us to value 236 along with the Yoga Nishtha value 34, and this is the value of the total letters of Ganita Upsutras. And the Sabij Samadhi, when is being taken along with the Prarabdha value as well, to value 283, which is equal to the letters of the Ganita Sutras. So here the Sankhya Nishtha and the Yoga Nishtha are the pair of processing steps in terms of which we will be having this comprehensive format for transition from first formulation to the second formulation. One may have a pause here and take note that the 8 directional format which is being availed and which is of Yama letters availed will lead us to value Purv as 21, Paschim as 22, Uttar as 16, Dakshin as 24, Ishan code as 33, Agin code as 13, Vave cone as 34, Naritya cone as 42. Total values are going to be 222. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well, and it is in the light of this formulation we will be in a position to have a comprehensive view of the transition as of the values, as of the formats. So it is going to make a mathematics, it is going to lead us to sciences, and it is to make available the technologies for us. So Vedic mathematics, Vedic sciences, Vedic technologies of 6-space. So 6-space Vedic mathematics, science and technology is the source reservoir of 1000 formulations as the Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram is. One is to be face to face with this reservoir as crystallized as 1000 formulations, and these 1000 formulations are also simultaneously preserving as an inbuilt features, inbuilt values of transition from given formulation to the next formulation. This bridging of transition formats from a given formulation to the next formulation as well is lively in this organization, and this lively organization is to be chased as and along a Sthapatya miring rod. And of the Sthapatya miring rod as well, we know that the fourth space is playing the role of a dimension, sixth space is playing the role of a domain. However, Lord Brahma, the overlord of fourth space, is the overlord of the Mayer of this miring rod, while Lord Vishnu, the overlord of sixth space, is the overlord of the miring rod. However, this format as it is the format along which there is going to be a transcendental flow. It is this transcendental flow along the Sthapatya miring rod which is the coordinating, organizational and gaps bridging for mathematics, sciences and technologies. So Vedic mathematics, sciences and technologies are living in the gaps between the pair of formulations of Sthapatya miring rod. We have to reach from formulation 1 to formulation 2, and the transition and a reach from formulation Vishwa to formulation Vishnu as such is going to lead us to a format of values and features flowing along the format of a hypercube 5 with 3 space in the role of a dimension, 4 space in the role of a boundary, 5 space as a domain and 6 space as a origin. Therefore, 6 space as origin is to be reached, is to be glimpsed by having a transcendence within 5 space domain. Therefore, in the next phase, we will be having a transcendence within 6 space domain. Therefore, the transition from formulation 1 to formulation 2 is a transition of a pair of steps, and the first step is to transcend within 5 space domain, and at the next step, when we have already glimpsed the origin of 5 space, that is when we are face to face with 6 space in the role of an origin, then we have to transcend further, and it is this second phase transcendence within 6 space domain which shall be bringing us face to face with 7 space in the role of dimension. It is this transcendence at the second phase which will be taking us to this 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. It is this transcendence range, and with hypercube of 5 to reach at this transcendence range of the value 25, and it is this reach at value 25, and we know that reaching from 5 space to value 5 square means it would be reaching from linear to a spatial, that means to reaching at the squares. Therefore, the emerging formation of this transition reach is on the formulation varga. If we can write n square as n plus 2 and n multiplied by n plus 2 and making it to be a dimension, adding 2, making it a domain. Therefore, n square as domain is to be reached by this formulation. It is this feature which deserves to be changed sequentially for n is equal to 6 as value 36, then n is equal to 5 as value 25, and sequentially up till value 1. Now it is this 1, 0 and 1. It is this reversal and reach back which is the cyclic order which is attained by the Vedic system. Now the reach is ultimately going to be from value 25 to value 36. It is with 5 square as domain to 6 space as a domain. Now 5 space as domain means we are having a square of area 5 square. From here we have to reach at a square of area 6 square, and it will amounts to have a grid 6 cross 6 grid, 6 cross 6 grid, and at the grid zones and centers we will be having 5 cross 5 grid. Therefore, this transition is a transition which is taking us to a format of two-space or square or two-space body or hypercube 2 in the role of the domain, and once it is in the role of a domain, then we can see that this domain will have played its different roles. Two-space domain in the role of a dimension, two-space domain in the role of boundary, two-space domain in the role of a domain, two-space domain in the role of an origin, two-space domain as the base. This is not to remain restricted only to two space. It will go to 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 space. It is this sequential reach, it is this sequential attainment which is lively, which is at work, which is playing its role, and we have to be face to face with it. We have to comprehend it, we have to imbibe it, and once we will be imbibing it, then the blissful reach will be that our intelligence field will become a consciousness based chetana. Once there is a consciousness base for the intelligence field, then our all mental states, stagnations will melt away, and with the melting away of the mental states, we will go and reach and work out, process out, and would be face to face with the existence phenomenon, with the cosmic intelligence. It is the cosmic intelligence which is attainable within human frame, and this cosmic intelligence will work out this universe as an artificial intelligence. So universe to be chased by artificial intelligence is going to be the attainment for the enlightened human beings. Sadhakas with the cosmic intelligence will be having potentialities to work out this universe as an artificial intelligence. How the Vishwa is to be Vishnu. It is this transition from Vishwa to a Vishnu. Once sadhakas are of the existence phenomenon of the values parallel to the values of Vishnu, then it is going to be a cosmic intelligence field. This cosmic intelligence field will work out Vishwa, this solar universe, as artificial intelligence. This reach from artificial intelligence to the cosmic intelligence, or to view artificial intelligence from the format, from the platform, from the pillars, from the buildings, roof of the cosmic intelligence. It is this interrelationship of the cosmic intelligence and artificial intelligence, and the gap in between is to be bridged by the values, features, and format which are lively within the gaps of the formulation Vish and formulation Vishnu. This transition is to be the actual attainment. It is going to be the ultimate bliss. It is going to be the eternity. Sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to be in the blissful state of eternity shall transcend within the gaps of the pair of formulations of Vishnu Shastram Stotram. We have to be face to face with the values lively within the pair of formulations. Initiation for it is that we shall begin with the formulation Vish, and we transcend and reach at the formulation Vishnu. In between bridging is going to be a reservoir of values, features which are to be formatted, and the same are to be chased and are to be imbibed. In the next session, we shall be taking up the simultaneous transition from formulation 1 to and at formulation 2, as well as 2 and at formulation 3 Impliedly, there is going to be a transition from formulation 2 to formulation 3 as well. Now, initially we are starting with the formulation 1 and reaching at formulation 2. It is a one step. Then we will be having a transition and reaching at simultaneously at formulation 2 as well as at formulation 3. Thank you very much.